Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Carmen Christian, an associate professor in the economics department. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present on my experience with using Turnitin as well as Copyleaks as AI detection tools. And I am very sorry that I'm only able to join at this point. It sounds like I've missed a lot of key information, and I look forward to watching the video. And please forgive me if I state anything that has already been said. So let me just share my presentation. For my presentation, I'm basically going to be using a case study approach to describe my two and only experiences with students that used AI to help generate text for a submission. I will then just briefly chat about some of the benefits and limitations of these AI detection tools, and then some of what I think my thoughts are on the scopes for improvement. So let's start on the left-hand side with student X. So student X was a master's student of mine, a master's candidate. This student had ghosted the system for about 6 months, and then eventually when the student reappeared, there was a 40-page proposal, which already raised a few orange flags because prior to this, we were even struggling to get 1 page of work. When I looked at the proposal, it was immediately clear to me that some type of AI system was used to generate a lot of this, repetitive paragraphs with similar structures, a lot of a high word count, 40 pages, but actually saying very little of substance. And then the dead giveaway was the reference list with all these fake references that you can see highlighted there in the middle. So that proposal was then submitted to both Turnitin and Copyleaks via CIECT. Then if you look on the right-hand side, I talk about student Y, which is an honest student of mine, a diligent student progressing at a good pace, who submitted a very well-crafted literature review. And then as part of our standard assessment, we screen all submissions for this particular module via Turnitin. So what were the AI detection outcomes of these two very different submissions? So as you can see, both submissions had a very high score of AI being used to generate text in some way. And you can see the student X's result. This one was predictable. I'd, just by reading it, you could see that this was likely to be the outcome. However, the second student, student Y, the honors student, I was quite surprised um, that the AI score was that high. It wasn't easily detectable just by reading it. And this leads me to what I think is the immediate and main benefit of having these AI detection tools. It offers us a very objective way or an objective approach to detect AI in the absence of student actually declaring that they used it. Without this tool, I would never have known if student Y had actually used some form of AI system to generate the output. However, there are some limitations that I found. Some of them are just, very straightforward and practical limitations. For example, on these AI detection tools, both with Copyleaks and with Turnitin, the site does not allow you to download the AI report. So you literally have to take screenshots of the outcomes when you need to discuss this with students and take it further. In my experience, I also find that Copyleaks is a far blunter instrument in AI detection than Turnitin. Turnitin will give you a specific percentage of what amount of the text was generated using AI, while Copyleaks will simply use a descriptor like very high, medium, or low. But I think my main issue is the lack of specificity. So, yes, these are mainly tools simply to detect AI, but they tell us nothing about how those AI systems were used to actually generate the outputs that we see. And this is somewhat problematic because even though both of those students scored 74% in terms of AI generation, it was very clear that their outputs were different. And my assumption is that the first student had used this tool in a very kind of rudimentary way, very little input of their own, very weak prompts. So it was a case of garbage in, garbage out. With the second student, I mean, I really have no idea exactly in which way they used AI to generate that text because the output looked really well structured, the references were good, and I would want to know more. So, this leads me to some of my recommendations. They are short and sweet. So, I really would like others to also put forth some of their recommendations. But, something basic like both Turnitin and Copyleaks adding a feature for us to download these AI reports, that would be very useful. But more importantly, I'm starting to think that these AI detection tools should be used in conjunction with other processes or additional information um, when students are submitting various assignments. So first of all, I'm strongly leaning towards having students declare whether they have used any type of AI um, in any part of what they have submitted. And if this is the case, in addition, I would want them to share the engagement between that AI system and themselves, to share that link. ChatGPT does offer that function so that I can go through and see how exactly it was used. So, for example, the student Y, when I approached the student and asked, first of all, for them to state whether they used AI or not, the student then admitted that he did. And because it was within a short space of time and these chat links had not disappeared yet, he was able to share it with me. And I could clearly see from start to finish what the engagement was between him and Chat GPT. And he had given it a lot of input, his own writing from credible resources that he read. And the prompts were mainly linked to assisting with grammar and so on. Which, yeah, it's helpful, but for this particular module, the language structure, etc., wasn't the main focus. The main focus was on the content of understanding what they had read in the articles and putting that together. So yeah, these are my thoughts. Yeah, it's great, the AI detection tools that we've got, simply as an objective measure to detect it, but it really doesn't take us far in terms of understanding what the processes were that generated the particular outputs. And I think each case needs to be, judged on a case by case basis. But I'm really thinking that requesting a type of chat GPT link and it will provide the total thread of all engagement that resulted in that particular output. I think that's pretty useful. There's no way in which that could be jimmied, because the output that I see in the chat link has to match the output that they've submitted. So, yeah, these are just some of my preliminary thoughts of how we can move forward with using these AI detection tools. Um, but I look forward to hearing what others have to say about it as well. Thank you so much for your time.